Welcome to the Healing Circle. I'm Christine, founder of Embodied Energy Wellness, a shamanic energy practitioner and soul guide. This is a space for honest conversations about healing, awakening, and the moments that shape us. We all carry a story, and this is a place where those stories can be shared, witnessed, and gently healed, together in community. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about remembering yourself. Take a deep breath. You're very welcome here. Just a gentle note before we begin, some topics discussed in this episode may touch on trauma, loss, or sensitive life experiences. Please take care of yourself as you listen and engage in a way that feels supportive.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Healing Circle. I'm your host, Christine Higgins. Today, I'm having a solo episode, and I wanted to speak to people out there that still feel stuck on their healing journey. So, are you thinking you're doing everything right, and you're wondering, why do I still feel like this? You've read the books, you've done the meditations, you've connected to your community, attending cacao ceremonies, you're more aware of your behavior patterns and how your emotions are. You're trying every day, but yet something isn't shifting. If that's you, I want you to hear this straight away. You're not broken. You're not doing anything wrong, but there is a reason you feel stuck. And that's exactly what we're going to gently explore today. I know this feeling so deeply because I lived it for years. Back when I had my previous business, from the outside, everything looked fine. I looked like successful. I was working. I was running my business. I was being a mom to my 4 children. I was doing everything right. But inside, I was exhausted, constantly in my head, overthinking everything, trying to keep everyone else happy. And no matter what I did, I couldn't switch off. Even when I tried to rest, my body didn't know how to. I was tense. I was clenched in my body. And also, at the same time, I was reeling from the death of my dad. And in previous podcasts, you may know that I didn't have a great relationship with my dad. He had manic, depression, schizophrenia, didn't see him for years. And then the last couple of years of his life, when I did see him, he was so consumed in his mental health. He just was not the father that he could be and what I needed at the time. So when his death happened, I was so used to pushing and suppressing all my emotions for years that when he died, there was a grief that had been with me since I was 12 years of age. So I remember saying to someone, I've been holding this grief for so long that I don't feel anything when he dies because I'm just still numb from when I was 12 years of age. So at this time, on the outside, it looked like I was winning it. But on the inside, I felt like I was stuck in this loop of doing, pushing, and simply surviving. And I truly believed the answer was to try harder. And in my mind, when my dad passed over, I thought, he's in the spiritual realm. He's watching me. So I need to make him proud. So I pushed and kept pushing harder and harder in my subconscious mind, to please him, but also to prove to him that I'm a success. So when I was feeling this stuck energy coming in, I knew I had to go and talk to someone about this. So I started talk therapy. And I felt that was the next step. So I went into talk therapy, and it was really powerful. I remember this amazing therapist. She was brilliant. I really connected with her, which is quite rare, in fairness. I always feel that when a person finds the right therapist, yes, but there is a lot of migrating through that fields to find the right therapist for you. And sometimes people have first experiences and say, talk therapy is not for me. But I remember over the 6 sessions I had with her, I began to understand so much about myself, why I reacted the way I did, why I people pleased, where my patterns came from, and that awareness mattered. And I really did. But I'll never forget walking out of my final session and thinking, okay, I have this knowledge, I have this wisdom now, I have this deep understanding. But what now? What do I do now with this information? I still feel stuck. I still feel the energy is around me. So how do I release that energy? And the emotional weight was still there. So the patterns are still there. My body still felt the same. And that's when it clicked. Awareness alone wasn't enough, because I could understand my wounds, but yeah, I didn't know how to move them out of my energy field. And that's when I realized there has to be something more, something that worked with the body, with the energy, and with the emotional layers, because our experience don't just live in our thoughts. They live in our nervous system, and they live in our body. They live in the energy we carry. And that's what led me to the shamanic energy healing. I was drawn to go into that field of energy healing and understand it. And not from a place of trying to fix myself, but from a place of curiosity. How do I actually release what I now understand? And this is where so many people find themselves. They've done the work, they've understand the patterns, they're still asking, why do I still feel like this? Because that insight, I feel, is the beginning, but it's not the full journey. So the body still needs to process, the nervous system still needs to feel safe, and the energy still needs to shift. And that's the piece that changes everything. And when I started on my journey of learning energy healing, I realized this was the missing piece. And in my sessions, my one-to-one sessions, a lot of my clients are also doing the talk therapy and using me as a complementary to this therapy to get an overall release. In the embodied energy healing sessions that I provide, we do half shamanic counseling, so that's a talk therapy, and then we move into the shamanic Reiki, the shamanic energy healing, to release what has come up. And that's what I feel is what a lot of people need. They need that release. And for me, being that person to be able to do it is that I can take my wisdom that I learned in my healing journey and bring my clients the depths of my healing. And that's, I think, is the difference with energy healers. You know, I always say to the students for my energy courses, I say, you can only heal clients the depth of your healing. So you as a healer need to take on board your healing journey. You have to strip back the layers. You have to shed, constantly shed. You constantly have to be working on yourself every single day. And that is why I sea swim most days. I'm in nature most days. I'm moving my body most days. I'll wake up in the morning and say, what does my soul need today? And if I hear the seagulls flying over my house, I know the sea is calling me. If I feel my body's holding onto stuff energetically, I know I need to go to the gym. If I feel I need to just release and open my heart, I go to the forest. And I'm very lucky where I live. I have the sea 5 minutes away, I have the hill, Kleiny Hill 5 minutes away, and I have a gym 5 minutes away. So I have these modes of shedding and helping me release very close by. And that's why, like, you look at your healing journey in 4 areas: your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, and physical. And when you tip into those 4 elements on a daily basis, and like, it really does overall increase your vibration. Energy healing is about a frequency. Mother Earth has a Schumann resonance of 7.83 hertz. As humans, we connect to that energy in order to heal. She's like our generator. You know, you ever feel like you're walking out in the forest and you instantly feel calm. And when you look at nature and the seasons and the cycles that she goes through, and, you know, in the autumn, she's shedding. In the winter, she's going inwards. She's getting quiet. She's hibernating. In the spring, it's a new beginning. She's starting to blossom, flourish, grow, expand. And in the summer, she is in her prime. I always say Ireland is the best place to be when the sun is shining, because everyone's energy, we're all uplifted, we're all happy. But what happens in the autumn, people start going, you know, we all start moaning about the weather, you know, and suddenly it's a surprise that it rains for like 3 days in a row. And then the winter is everyone's just hunkered down, hibernating. But society has us the opposite way of we're supposed to live. It's all constantly has us out of alignment. You know, at Christmas time, we're being conditioned to get out, get to the shops, beat the crowds, go to your Christmas parties, you know, party, 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 party. Where our soul is craving to go inwards. Um, and that's why a lot of people feel totally just out of sorts. But it's so lucky that, with the energy healing, it keeps our vibrations at a high frequency, and that's what we need. And when a client comes in to me for a healing, I say, my role is to channel the life force energy through me. I don't heal you. It's whoever comes into the room. I have a spiritual healing team, and I call them in, and I call in the client's higher self. And they are all high vibration of love and light. What I'm doing to the client is making them relax, making them trust and soften by bringing them on a meditation at the very start of our session. So then they're opening up, and I open up all their chakras, and then their own vibration starts rising, starts increasing to meet the high vibration of love and light to come down, and then it channels into them. So the embodied energy healing sessions that I provide are quite powerful because you're hitting every part of a person's journey through their healing. And people say talk therapy, it's amazing for them. But if you don't go to the root of the problem in terms of the energetic problems, because we have 7 supple energetic bodies. And the main one that I find that clients have an issue with is their mental body, which is connected to their solar plexus, and their emotional body, which is connected to their heart and their sacral chakra. So their sacral chakra is where we hold our emotions, our relationships, our sexuality, our creativity. Our heart, obviously, the heartache, but also how we open up our hearts as well, and love and compassion. And our solar plexus are wisdom and our power. And when we connect into those chakras, when we release the energy, what I see from a shamanic point of view is the sluggage that's holding into all those energy bodies. And my role as a shaman is to clear them and also fill them with energy, with love and light. So that when a client is able to talk through the problems, and I'm channeling the wisdom that's coming through to give them the guidance or the higher perspective of the situation they're in. What I do is I call my spirit animal in the eagle. And the eagle comes in to give me the higher perspective of the client. And I think it's amazing to be able to give a different perspective to the client who is in their shit, is what I call it. Because most of people I see, they have their blinkers on and they can only see their side of the story, their experience. And they feel like life is happening to them, not for them. But when you get that higher perspective, you get that higher wisdom coming in, it reassures the clients that they're not stuck. They just need to see something from a different perspective. So when I look back of an old unhealed version of me coming out of that last talk therapy session and wondering what next, I knew that was my guides pushing me into something more that I eventually can bring into my clients. And that's what I love about it, this work that I work in. It's reminding a client that their body can feel safe again. That slowing down is what they need rather than speeding up. And that's what I did in the past. I sped up. I rushed around. I tried to help everyone. But my nervous system was completely shot. And you will hear a lot more people talking about regulating their nervous system. It shouldn't be like, hey, how are you? It should be, how's your nervous system today? Because that gets a person out of their heads and into their body and going, yeah, how do I feel? Instead of the Irish automatic answer, which is grand, but inside it could be rattling, Also, shamanic healing, it helps us to release what we're holding. And we may not even be aware of what we're holding until we go into a safe, sacred space to be heard, to be seen, and to be felt, and to have that compassion for clients. So remember this: when your body feels safe and your mind quietens and your emotions soften and your clarity returns, suddenly you're not stuck anymore. You're finally able to move and shift through that energy that has been holding you down for such a long time. And this is the work that I've devoted myself to over the past 6 years in business now, blending nervous system regulation, energy healing, emotion release, and honest, grounded conversations. Because healing isn't just one thing, it's about working with the whole person on all levels of their energetic body. We are more than just our physical body. We're a multi-dimensional mess of human. But isn't that the joy of it? Stripping away those layers that we hold and use as our guards to find out and rediscover who we really are. And that's one thing that when I look back on my healing journey is I've really rediscovered who I am. And a lot of people come to me when they feel lost. And I love watching their journey over. I always recommend signing for the 4-session package because one session may give you initial release, but over 4 sessions, there's transformation. And you have to make a commitment to your healing journey. It's not just a one-hit wonder. It's a process, and everything is a journey, and everything is one step forward, 2 steps back. That's what I always say, to everyone. When you're on a healing journey, it is the most challenging, but also the most rewarding, because you are rediscovering yourself. You are finding what once brought you joy. The first question I ask my clients when they walk in is, when did you stop dancing? When did you stop finding joy in things? And I'm tracking back to the past where they lost their soul piece along the way. And their soul piece is, we have an amazing ability on the soul level to spiritually protect ourselves when we go through huge wounds, huge trauma. Our soul tears a piece off and leaves in that time and location. So as the client migrates through their life, can you imagine where you might have had a soul loss? Maybe it was in school when you got bullied. Maybe it was the heartbreak of your first love, breaking up with them. It can be anything. But if you can imagine all those soul pieces back in those time and locations, and you're standing in front of me in my healing room and saying, I don't know what's wrong, but there's something missing. It's your soul piece. It's your soul loss. And so with the shamanic healing, especially the embodied energy healing, we do soul retrieval. And soul retrieval is going back to those time locations and getting those soul pieces back. But the magic in this work is I empower you, or you empower yourself, to go back and get those soul pieces. Through shamanic journey, using the drum, we go back, you're in a meditative trance, and you're going back and feeling more empowered to get that soul piece back. And it could go back to the time and location, but the emotion isn't there. Our intention is to just go back to time and location, not to the emotion. So the client feels safe and empowered to do so. Now, the people that may have caused those wounds may come in, and it is up to the client whether they're ready to either forgive them or say they have no hold or power over them anymore. And that's when we have that shift and that release from the heaviness that they carry and may have been carrying for so many years. So if you're listening to this and thinking, oh my God, that sounds like me, maybe I have soul loss, I invite you just to take a breath for a moment. Taking a nice deep inhale into the nose and exhale. Remember, nothing has gone wrong. Your system is simply trying to protect you, and now you get to gently show it that it's safe to soften. If you feel ready to go deeper into this work, if you've done the talk therapy and like that, you feel the same way, where it's like, what do I do now? I've left your ways for you to work with me below, whether that's through my programs, one-to-one sessions, or starting gently with a masterclass there's a space for you. And I'd love to support you. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope something hit and resonated with you and some energetic chords. Remember, I'm always here.
Thank you for being part of the Healing Circle today. If something in this conversation touched you, let it land gently. You don't need to rush to understand it. Your body already knows. Remember, your story matters, and when it's shared in the right space, it has the power to heal, not just you, but others too. If you feel called to explore this work more deeply, you'll find links to my sessions, retreats, and offerings through Embodied Energy Wellness in the show notes. Until we meet again, go gently, stay connected, and trust the wisdom within you. Thank you for being here.